Welcome to 20 Minutes Self-Development with me, your host, Tam Dillon. 20 Minutes Self-Development, the podcast that's all about focused, effective self-development, one tool at a time. In each episode, I'll be introducing you to a specific practice or technique, and I'll be diving into why it matters, how it works, and how you can integrate it seamlessly into your daily life. In just 20 minutes, we'll get to the heart of personal growth and insights that make meaningful change feel both accessible and achievable. Let's get into today's episode. Hi, and welcome back to 20 Minutes Self-Development, a slightly different episode of 20 Minutes Self-Development. This one's going to be a little bit more personal, probably a whole lot more direct, and it marks I suppose a shift for my work. Like we're going to chat a bit about that. And 20 minutes self-development. So there's going to be some changes and adjustments around here, but all good things. So I've been in the healing space for 25 years. Like this is the space that I've worked in. I've done energy work, I've worked with the tarot, I've done coaching, I've done spiritual education, and after decades of experience, burnouts, breakthroughs, and just a whole lot of trial and error, like in all honesty, I'm finally doing the thing I've always been meant to do, and that's mentoring practitioners through their own self-development. So there's the shift. Ta-da! So yes, Tam is still a self-development coach, but her focus is specifically on healers and practitioners. And as we kind of unpacked today's episode, and if you track a couple of my social posts that are going to be going out, my newsletter, I'll be expanding on how I got here, and where we're going with all of this. So this podcast and my work as a whole is now exclusively for practitioners, for space holders, for healers. And it really is like intuitives, coaches, tarot readers, Reiki practitioners, yoga teachers, spiritual guides, anyone whose work involves supporting or guiding others. Like you are now my clients. This is who I work with now. And that's very much where 20 minute self-development is going to go. It's still 20 minute self-development, but my focus is going to be on you, because here's what I've seen over and over again is healers and practitioners, they need their own support, and not just for business, not just for visibility. They need a space to do the real inner work. Like we have to be doing this work as practitioners. Over the years that I've been doing this work, I've worked with hundreds of people, and the vast majority of them have been practitioners. They've been people with natural spiritual gifts, and some of them were just starting out. Some of them would be like, hey, I'm seeing some things and I'm hearing some things and I don't really know what to do with this, or I feel this really deep sense calling and I don't know what to do with it. And it's others were decades into their work, and they were either just feeling really stuck or burnt out or just lost, because they'd just been doing it for so long. But consistently, they were healers and practitioners. And even though I offered programs and coaching for the general public, the universe is, just keeps circling me back to this group of people that I'm supposed to work with. And my initial thing with when I launched self-development coaching earlier this year was because the tools that I work with, like I work with them, like they're my tools, and they have served me so well. And just like life is always going to challenge you. Life's always going to be hard. Like it's going to have its ups and downs, because that is just balance. And these tools have helped me manage and cope through those things with a lot more ease and stability. with a lot less feeling like I'm losing my mind. So that's why I was like, hey, well, cool, here's Tam. She's doing self-development coaching. Here's the toolboxes she's building for you, because she fully believes in the tools that she uses. So that's why I went like general public, like, hey, you want to do self-development coaching? Let's go. But the universe keeps pushing me back to, working with these practitioners and healers and the naturally gifted, and it's been worldwide. It's been back in my home country in South Africa is where it all started. It followed me through to my travels in Southeast Asia, and it's sure as heck has followed me here to the US where I live now. And it's um, I can't ignore what I'm being constantly being pushed back towards. We know this as spiritual practitioners. If we avoid what the universe is telling us, eventually it's just going to kick us in the pants and be like, hey, you there. You're like, you need to sort yourself out now, like, let's go. So here I am, and I'm going. So yes, healers and practitioners, like, I am all yours. And by 2023, I hit probably one of my worst burnouts. And it was because I was trying to be everything for everyone. Back then, spiritual education is it's a passion topic for me, because I see so much misunderstanding. I see so much unnecessary fear, and a lot of hatred, a lot of judgment. There's a lot of misconceptions in and around this type of work in this industry. And that's why I was like, okay, well, spiritual education, let's go educate the people. And I see now critical mass is where, like, that comes in. That's done as a global community. We educate the masses. So yeah, mid 2023, I hit a burnout because I was trying so hard to be there for everyone and everything, and just stretching myself thin. And spiritual education for the public, general coaching programs for all levels, it was too much. I was doing too much. I was like, well, what if I, put this course together? Maybe if I do this next thing, it'll hit in the right place. Um, and the universe is just sitting back being like, what are you doing? Like, yes, but also no. What you're doing is right, but you're doing it for the wrong people. Like, stop that. And eventually they burnt me out. They were like, you need to stop and sit down and be quiet so we can talk to you and be like, okay, you're kind of doing the right thing. Like, you got the right idea, but who you're doing it with, and like the full how and the whole, like, the full why, we need to discuss that. So that's why I stepped away from my work in 2023 and took the break, because the universe was like, hey, we need to have some words. And pretty much shoved into, I joke and I call it like the university of the universe, where we all go and get our upgrades and our initiations as spiritual practitioners. So yeah, I was shipped back into university for a reason, because I knew something had to change. I shouldn't be burning out like that in work that, I live and breathe my work. I thrive on it. There's passion behind it. So where is this burnout coming from? Um, and what followed was initiation, your conversations with the ancestors, conversations with the spirits, conversation with the universe, and they were very consistent on something, and that is who you are supposed to work with, why and how. Um, and over that time in that initiation, because initiations aren't fun, man, they're not supposed to be. It's not a walk in the park. It was hard. It broke me numerous times where I was like, oh my word, how am I going to get through this? And I was like, you lean on your tools. And this is where it comes in. Like, as practitioners, we need tools. We need tools to do our own work, because I have my saying that was taught to me, and I teach it to everyone else. Check yourself before you wreck yourself or someone else, because you're a space holder. And I had to apply these tools to myself because I knew that they worked, and they did. They got me through one of the harder initiations. I mean, I've been through some rough ones, and they've all looked different for different reasons. And my tools every time have got me through that. My tools every time have got me through all the hard times in life. And as a practitioner, it has refined me. It's given me skills that, as practitioners, we absolutely need. The spiritual truths that I teach to other the because I teach with spiritual tools. That's what I teach other people. I teach things like yogic philosophy and Buddhism and working with the tarot for self-development. I lean on these tools. I teach these practices, um, but I'm sure as how I'm going to be tested on, am I being true to those practices? Am I walking my talk? And yeah, the universe shoved me through the fire, and I was like, okay, cool. let's burn. Let's do this. Let's test these tools out. And what's come out on the other side, and it's taken me a minute to get there, is it's clarity. I understood last year. I'm like, okay, I think I'm supposed to work with other practitioners and healers, and I think it's coaching. And then the universe was like, cool, you've got it, but not quite. So let's come back into the university, and let's do some more college testing for you. And coming into this year, I was kind of hitting the nail on the head a lot closer with the self-development coaching. But again, and I was offering the mentoring for practitioners, but again, there was I'm still there for everyone. Whereas like, this is the very specific group that I work for. Like this is who I'm here for. This is purpose. And self-development is purpose. Teaching them tools is purpose. So here I am, with that clarity. These tools work. They've helped me through some of the harder seasons of my life. They've helped me refine myself as a practitioner. They've helped me through dealing with some really hard, challenging clients, or clients that are bringing me some really heavy, heavy stuff. And they're exactly what today's practitioners need. And it's not just to survive this work, but to stay whole in this work, to stay consistent in this work, to not burn out, to not feel overwhelmed, to not crack and feel like you're losing your mind some days. So I looked at what I was offering. There's the coaching, there's the mentoring, and there's these two separate pathways and these two separate audiences. And once again, back where I was in 2023, hey world, here's Tam. She's here available for everyone. No, she's not. She's exclusive now. So yeah, I'm growing steady with the niche now, everyone. And I realized, I don't need two offers. I don't need two audiences. I really don't. It's too much work, man. I'm one person. I'm here for the one audience that then works with the other audience. It's called a snowball effect. So what I do is self-development for practitioners. 20-minute self-development is for practitioners. So nothing about the podcast has really changed other than, the who I'm talking to. And what I offer is mentoring that's gonna help healers stay grounded, to stay clear, and most importantly, stay in integrity. I'm not a business coach. I will absolutely share my experiences with you, what's worked, what hasn't, and I have a pool of phenomenal professionals that are business coaches and can help you with the marketing and the finances. So I come with a toolbox of professionals as well. But no, I'm not doing business coaching, and I sure as hell I'm not dishing out the fluff. I'm not coming from a space of like, oh, love and light, and let's make the world all hunky dory and whatnot. Like when you're working with me, like we're going to do some real work, because you are a practitioner who is doing very real work. And it's the real inner work that's going to support you as a practitioner for the long haul. I'm not going to be giving you some quick fixes or sticking on some band-aids. Like we're going to be doing some shit. All right. So let's get clear on something. There are way too many practitioners out there. Like full stop. There are way too many practitioners out there. This space has become so saturated, and not with quality, not with ethics, not with anything that's actually health or wellness based. It's become saturated with pseudo practitioners who've figured out that the world is desperate for healing. And they're right. People are desperate. They're turning to spirituality because traditional systems are failing them. Traditional psychologies. People have come to me and they're like, I've been with my therapist for 8 years and I'm just like spinning my wheels and I'm just not shifting. Like I'm not getting something. So traditional systems, like they're failing them. And in that desperation, these people are vulnerable. They're looking for that solution. And there are people out there who saw this as a business opportunity. They took a weekend tarot course or did a Reiki level 1, and suddenly they're launching a service. Not because they're called, but because they've done the work, but because they know how to sell. They're marketers, they're brand strategists, they're entrepreneurs in spiritual clothing. And man, I've sat in free courses with some of these pseudo practitioners, and like I wanted to stick my hand through the screen and like shake them and be like, "No, go away! Like, what are you doing in my industry? Like, stop that!" Because they're not practitioners; they're opportunists, and they are flooding a space that was never meant to be transactional or corporate. Let's use that word, corporate. Like this space that we work in is not supposed to be corporate. Like, yes, we run businesses and there's business things that we need to do because that's logic and common sense, because that is how the world works. But it's not supposed to be 6 figures and shiny and polished. Like, it's not. It's messy. It's messy. Some days it's dark and it's heavy. We've got these 6-figure funnel coaches, and like, oh my lord, if Facebook shoves another one of these ads in my face, I'm going to drop off Facebook very quickly. Because they're teaching you how to sell healing. We've got these aesthetic spiritualists on Instagram, and they're passing themselves off as being these wise gurus, these divine spiritual beings. And then we've got the love and the life brands. Like, man, like, stop that. Please stop with the love and light nonsense. Like, don't do that. Like, let's get rid of the hashtag love and light, like, please. Because these brands are bypassing trauma with their sound bowls and filtered affirmations. And in the middle of all of this, people are genuinely suffering. Like, and they're turning to this space for hope. This is like their last port of call. They're like, hey, traditional systems aren't working for me. Like, I'm desperate for something else. And opportunists are popping up and they're fake spiritual bees and being like, okay, cool, I can solve that problem for you. No, that's not how it works. It's dangerous. And it's not just them, because on top of this really horrible saturation that we have, we've got another problem. Practitioners who are meant to be here, like, this is your purpose, this is your calling, like, you are a gifted healer, but you are not doing your own work. You've got the gift, you've got the calling, but you are not checking yourselves. And that's the title of this episode. Like, check yourself before you wreck someone else. When that saying was taught to me, I was like, oh my, I need to teach other people this saying, because, like, yes, there's power in those words. Check yourself before you wreck yourself or someone else. You are space holders. You have these gifted people, and they're doing their yoga every morning, and they're thinking that counts, and they're doing the sound baths and they're, calling it, oh, you're releasing my shadow and releasing my trauma. No, you're not. You're just lying there doing nothing. You're going in and you're pulling the cards, being like, okay, well, you're going to give me an answer. And, I'm going to read this next book and I'm going to, become the next wise sage. They're absorbing every client's pain. They're burning out. They're struggling with overwhelm and they're wondering why. Because you're doing surface level nonsense and no actual inner work. Like, you've got to develop yourself as a practitioner. You've got to do that work. They're over identifying, they're over extending, they're bypassing, they're projecting, they're collapsing into sessions. Like, you're put here for the most amazing, beautiful purpose. The purpose is hard and heavy. Like, don't get me wrong. That's why I say love and light. Let's chuck that out the window. But you are here for an incredible purpose. And you're struggling your way through it because you're not doing the self-development, the genuine self-development. And self-development isn't taking another yoga class or reading another book or taking another course. It's ripping out the inside, having a good hard look at it and being like, okay, cool, who are you? Because you are coming into sessions with me with other people and their stuff. Okay, dangerous territory that we're trading in, right? Yes, we need to be very mindful of who we are coming into sessions. We've got to do our own work because it causes harm, and it's inadvertent harm. It's unintentional harm. You're not there with the intention of like, well, I'm not going to check myself, so I'm going to go and pick my client today. Like, no, that's like, especially the genuine people that where you're like, hey, I have an actual calling. But because you've got that disconnect from doing your own work, you're inadvertently causing harm because you haven't been taught how to truly hold space for yourself. And it's difficult to know how to hold space for someone else if you don't know how to genuinely hold for yourself, and you don't know what that feels like or what that looks like. You're just going on what the book has told you to do. Okay, well, this is how you hold space. No, you hold space in a way that you hold yourself. You hold space for yourself. Being a space holder isn't just about having a gift. You can't build a sustainable practice on intuition and gifts alone. You need structure, you need boundaries, you need emotional regulation, you need energetic hygiene, you need your own toolbox. Because when the client's trauma mirrors your own unhealed wounds, you need to know what to do. Because when your ego is being fed by validation, you need to know how to pull it back. Because when you're holding someone else's grief, their rage, their unraveling, you need to stay whole in that space. And you also need to know where the heck to put that stuff. Because for a lot of us, we just carry it around. And we're like, I don't know what else to do with this, so I'm just going to stick it on my shoulders and carry it around because I don't know how to filter it out. And none of that happens without real self-development. We don't learn these tools until we've actually climbed in there and done the work. You can read a gazillion and one books and be like, oh, I'm the best practitioner in the world, and your clients will have amazing sessions with you. But you are going to struggle and burn out. And sometimes you're going to come into a session, one client after the next, and inadvertently do some damage. So it's not about perfection. It's not about being a perfect practitioner. It's about responsibility, and it's about ethics and integrity. So here's where we're going to go from here. This podcast, still self-development focused, same tools, same tone, still same real talk, still Tam popping up once a week being like, cool, here's your 20 minutes of self-development. But everything will now be through that lens of the practitioner, because these are very important conversations to have. Because I'm not here to heal the general public. Like, that's not my place. And good Lord, it's taken me 25 years to figure that out. Like, come and learn from my mistakes, please. Come and learn from my wins, from my losses, from my lived experience as a practitioner, because I've been doing this for a long time. And now that I know who I'm talking to, we can make some good refinements and we can have some very real deep conversations, because you are the ones who are supposed to be working with the general public. And if I know that ones going out there are working on themselves and coming from the base places and not this pseudo love and light nonsense, and they're like, okay, well, I've read the book. Cool, have you done the work? Because as space holders, like, we need support. We need to be able to do the work, because the world doesn't just need more practitioners. Like, we definitely don't need more practitioners, for the love of goodness. Like let's stop putting practitioners out there for a bit. We need better ones. That is what we need. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be digging into the hard stuff in 20 minutes self-development. We're going to be talking burnout and boundaries, and the ethical discomfort, the illusion of being ready, practitioner identity, trauma loops, spiritual integrity. Like, we're going to be talking about the real stuff, man, because like the world is struggling right now, and the world needs you, and the world needs you to be a better version of yourself. Because when we are better, we can hopefully shove these pseudo practitioners out the way and be like, you all go back to your corporate like windows and leave the real work to the real people. So this space is here to support your growth, not just so you can do better work, but so you can also be better supported in the work. Like, I sustainable practitioners, sustainability is a big thing. So some shifts, some changes. Yes, Tam still does self-development. That hasn't changed. She still works with the exact same tools, because the tools work. Who she works with has changed. That's it. So you'll find that I've simplified everything. If you pop over to tamdillon.com, you're going to find that things have been super simplified over there. One offering, and that is mentoring for practitioners, and we're going to be working on self-development stuff and building you some toolboxes. And that mentoring is for the practitioners who are ready to do the real work, because this is work that we're going to be doing. So if you're ready and you're like, okay, cool, Tam, like, let's rip open my insides and let's climb in there and do the work, like, you know where to find me. So yeah, my site is simplified. Who I work with is simplified, and I tell you what, like, I feel a whole lot lighter. like it's been scary to step into this, because, you know, imposter syndrome, we all know about that. But the universe is going to keep shoving me in this direction, so I may as well just yield and be like, okay, cool, universe, I'm going to bend to your will. And yeah, I'm here, I'm ready, because whether you're 1 year in as a practitioner or 20 years in, this path will always ask you to grow, because the more you grow, the more you can grow the people that you work with. So for the love of goodness, please check yourselves, not because you're broken or because you're not gifted, but because you're holding someone else's healing in your hands. Thanks for joining me for this week's episode of 20-Minute Self-Development. If today's insights were helpful, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, where I'll share another practical tool or technique for your personal growth journey. If you're looking for more personalized support, my self-development coaching offers a space to explore these tools at a deeper level and tailors them to your unique needs. You can also visit the Tam Dillon Academy for all my courses and upcoming programs to also help you along your self-development journey. Until next time, keep showing up for yourself, and remember, growth happens one small intentional step at a time.